Hey guys, thanks for clicking in. I had a lot of people ask me about the crab picture I took the other day. So I threw on my cool Maryland crab shirt, me being from Baltimore, Maryland, living down here in Houston, Texas. And a couple people asked me what the best way is to eat a crab. So I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can eat a crab, but let's get the star in the picture right there. Yeah, that's the guy we're going to work on. So the first thing that I do with this crab is I'm going to take the legs off, and I turn it upside down, and I'm going to take all these legs and then kind of pull them inwards. And so you're going to get some meat off of here. I'm just going to place all this on the side over here to see how much meat we get off a crab. Same thing with this. I'm going to take the two claws off. Always going to point it in toward the inside. So right here, here's the bottom. I'm always pulling it in toward the inside. So we're trying to get these knuckles off at the same time. So there's some meat right there. So this, as the meat comes out, this could possibly be a light one, but I want to show you how to take the legs off. Same way here. I'm going to reach down real low, and there's knuckles in these. There's a little bit of meat off. This is the back fin. This is the best part. This is a little flipper. Now this one I'm not going to pull in. I'm going to pull out. I'll wiggle it out. Not much meat coming out of there, so it's showing me that there's a good chance that this is a full crab. Same thing with here, reaching in low, grabbing these legs out. Now on top of this, you're going to get these little knuckles. See these things right here, these little knuckles right here? Well, this knuckle I'm going to pull off because it's going to make it easier to clean later. So I'm going to pull all these knuckles off real quick. All the knuckles come off. Sometimes there's meat on it, sometimes there's not. If all your meat's coming out of the crab right now, you probably have a light crab, or what they call a paper shell. All right, so looking at these. Now, a lot of people don't pay attention to these, but these also can have a little bit of meat in it. I'm just going to show you how to pull out one. If I don't get anything in that, which I didn't, then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to squeeze this out, see if I can get in here. And a lot of times you can. If you squeeze it out, then you're getting that much meat. Now, some people think it's a lot of work, but if it tastes good, I get that much meat out of that little leg. And the same thing with what's on top here. Little top one. There's one, full meat on that. I'm going to pull it off, strip it. That's off. Then there's the meat. I'll put it in my pile. So you can do that to all these legs. I'm going to save some time, not show you how to do that, or just go into the big ones. These are the claws. A lot of people would like to start out just eating these. Thing with the claws, I'm pointing the red up. There's a red side and a white side. Red side up. I'm going to grab this knuckle right here. This is my what's called a fulcrum. Everything's going to move around this. This is what I'm going to grab here. I'm going to break it. Pull it out. There's some meat, but that only got half the meat. There's still some meat in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point the white point up. I'm going to tap my knife into it so it's not all the way through, but just a little bit in, and then I'm going to crack it. So that crack is what opens it up. Then I'm going to take this side. There's two sides of this. There's a round side, and then there's a flat side. I'm going to go in on this flat side right here. I'm going to go all the way down the bottom. I'm going to wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it. And there you go. There you pull out the whole thing, and underneath, there's nothing in the middle. So that's going to go on this side. Same thing with the claw. I'm going to point the white side, so it's kind of U'd up. You can see how it's here. It's U'd down, but I'm going to U it up. So it's U'd up. Then there's a little notch right here on that crab, that notch right there. I'm going to go just above that notch. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tap it, turn it, so I hear that click. There's the click. Wiggle it out a little bit. Now this one, I got a little bit on there of the meat, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this off, shake the meat off. The majority of the meat is still in the claw, which shows me that this is a heavy crab, that the meat is sticking inside. So this portion is what's still in there. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to go on the sides first, go on one side, go on the other side, and then I'm just going to pull it out. And all that meat is just going to come out on that knife right there. So I'm going to do these other two claws real quick just to show you that. Same thing. I'm going to grab the fulcrum, pull out, nothing on this. I'm going to grab this side, tap, turn, open. This side, pull out the meat right here. Place that on here. Go to the other side, there's a little bit of meat on that. Open that up. Place it out in my pile. So my pile is starting to get a little bit, and this is just on the legs. Take my claw, go above the notch, U side up, tap, turn, crack, open. Not much in there, at least coming out on that. That shows me I got a full crab. So I'm gonna reach back in here, go to one side, go to the other side. Sometimes that claw will break apart, but that's fine because all the meat's still in the middle. I'll come in here, pull that out, pull all that meat out of that, put it in my pile, and then what's left? Show you two different ways to eat this. Now, some people leave the legs on. It's just a matter of preference. I like to take the legs off. I'm gonna reach that, grab this apron, or some people call it the penis. I'm gonna grab this, rip it off, take off the backside. Then I'm gonna reach into the back of the crab and I'll put my finger where the flipper was. If you remember the flipper, I called that the back fin. That's the flipper. This is the flipper in the back. This is what helps them swim. Put my finger in there, open up the crab here. Now there's a couple things you want to get rid of here. This stuff on the side right here, these are called the gills. No lungs, crabs have gills. We want to take all those off. So the easiest way is just take your finger, just pull them off. The mouth is in the front. I'm going to pull the mouth off at the same time. Then down in here, the same thing with the gills on the other side. So then now I have just what looks like this. And you got all this stuff in the middle. Now, not to gross you out, but some people don't like to eat this. Other people love to eat it. This is basically the intestines in every part of the crab. I'm one of those guys that love to eat it. So I'm just going to take that down and taste it good because it's really, really good. And if you see this yellow stuff in here, this is kind of like the fat on a ribeye. It's the fat of a crab. They call it the mustard. We're going to eat up on that too. Now, two ways you can do this. Don't do it the first way. One, some people will just take this and they will squeeze. They'll squeeze one side, which is breaking the top half off, and then they open it up. That's one way that you can open it up. The other way is taking my knife. Imagine this was still closed. Taking my knife, cutting it in half long ways. So here it is. This side I already opened up just by crushing it, but then I can take my knife, cut it across long ways. I'm going to work the other side and show you. Both of them do the same thing. Then I have this side, which I can't pull apart at all because it's still attached. Remember, this one, all I did was crush it, and it opens right up. This side right here, and I'll take my knife, go long ways on it, put it in, wiggle it as you come down, and that's going to open that right up for you. Now you have two basic sides of this. And this is how it works. The one side, which is really full, this is kind of like the primo of the crab or the filet mignon of the crab. It's the flipper or the back fin. That went right here. Now check out this chunk of meat that comes out of this. That's the back fin. Right there. That chunk of meat comes right out of there. That was where the back fin was. And all that right there is just pure meat. That is the primo of the crab. Where the flipper was, that's the back fin part of it. I'm going to grab this, take that down. Now the rest of these all have little grooves, and you'll see how easy it is. The groove comes here, the meat comes out, groove is here, meat comes out, groove is there, meat comes out. So what you're left with when you're done is just a simple little, see where the meat was, and it comes out. The other side isn't so easy. The other side at the top has a lot of meat that just comes right off the top. So I'll take that, put that there. There's a lot of meat that comes off right off the top, but then what you have left is you have something that is a real thin shell on the top. And this is why we take off those knuckles, because if those knuckles were on here, it'd be really hard to eat the meat. But since those knuckles are gone, now all I can do is I can break this at the top, or I can bite it off the top. I like to bite the top off because it's a thin little membrane right there that if I bite it off, then I can get back down to my grooves. Pull the groove out there, pull the groove out here, and then when you're done with this, you're left with the other, but you just have to get that thin little membrane off. You're left with another one where it has the grooves and the meat is out. So I'm going to do these two real quick, and then, oh, here it is. Check it out. Here's the back fin. This is a big one. Back fin right here. This is the main part. Just going to reach in there, grab it. All that meat comes flying out. This is the main part of the crab right there where the flipper was. All that is back fin meat. Look at that. All that came out of that big hollow hole right there. That's your prime rib, your crown royale, your filet mignon of the crab. The rest of them all have grooves. So come down here, clean out the grooves. There he is. There's a nice, perfect, clean shell right there. The other side, as I mentioned, is a little bit more difficult. On the top, you have some crab that you can immediately pull out, but then what you're left with is this. See how it has that little membrane on top? That little membrane right there is what we want to get off, and then underneath those are grooves that go this way. So I personally, you can crack it. I'll show you the other way. I can crack it like this. Take my crab out. Go to the next groove. Crack it a little bit. Come into the side of it. Maybe squeeze it a little bit. I can squeeze it to get it out of that membrane. I can crack it. But it's set on those grooves just like the other one. And then this is what's left over. This is basically a decent sized crab. This was probably a Maryland one, or let's say a Texas one. But I'm pretty much looking at one crab, and some people think this is too much work. Well, pretty much one crab could be making you a decent size if you don't like it. Squeeze it together with a little bit of egg, a little bit of breadcrumb. There's your nice crab cake. So you can have somebody pick them for you like me, and they better, if they're picking them for you, you owe them. Or you can just buy a crab cake like this. But let me tell you, there's nothing better than taking a crab out of a shell when you know how to do it, because it's a social kind of eating, just like crawfish. So enjoy. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put all this in the shell, and I'm going to surprise somebody when they come home today with what's called a stuffed crab cocktail right there. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the little crab session. I know it went a little bit long, but hopefully you got something out of it. Appreciate you tuning in. Nuke out.